Coca-Cola. Saddle up on this Friday afternoon from Fort Worth, a phenomenal day of Sweet 16 games on ESPN. We kick things off with a star-studded matchup between the 6-seed Notre Dame Fighting Irish and the 2-seed Vanderbilt Commodores from Dickies Arena. As we take a look at our bracket, our second game in our Fort Worth Regional 1, we'll see the #1 overall seeded defending champion UConn Huskies in our second game against North Carolina. But first, this big-time matchup between Notre Dame and Vanderbilt, as we say hello and welcome you in with the Hall of Fame and National Championship coach Carolyn Peck. I'm Tiffany Green. When you think about this Vanderbilt team, this is a historic season, but it's been more than 2 decades since they've been to this stage. Meanwhile, for Notre Dame, well, they've been consecutively here the last 5 seasons to the Sweet 16.
When you look at this Vanderbilt team, look, at the beginning of the season, they were picked 7th in the SEC, and they went on a historic run. And then Notre Dame, it was questionable if they were even going to make the tournament. But Neil Ivey was able to right the ship, and they're here today.
All right, folks, let me tell you, this is going to be a blockbuster matchup of guards. And now as we look at our slam dunk matchup brought to you by Wendy's, ACC Player of the Year, Hannah Hidalgo, 3rd in scoring, leading the nation in steals. Michaela Blake's top scorer in the nation and helping the Commodores do some amazing things that you're talking about this season.
Look, you got 2 women from New Jersey. Let's start with Michaela Blake, leading the nation in scoring. Why? Because this is a player that never stops moving. Great condition. She can hurt you with the ball or without the ball. Look, she's the only player that's got plus 300 points in the paint and has made plus 75 threes. But she's going to have her hands full going against Hannah Hidalgo. Now, when Hannah Hidalgo's on the court, you better protect your pocket because she averages about 6 steals a game. She's on pace to lead the nation in fast break points for the 3rd season in a row. Gets about 8 of those. Steal score is the mentality of Hannah Hidalgo.
For more on the Garden State Guards, let's check in with the 3rd member of our team, Angel Gray.
Ladies, yesterday Hannah Hidalgo told us it's something about those Jersey girls when we asked her about taking the floor once again against Michaela Blake's and going back to their high school days. She also shared that when they stepped on the floor, it was always a show, and shared that they both play with a fierce tenacity and grit, passion to win on both ends of the floor. The battle, she said she was always looking forward to. The bragging rights, of course, went to her in that last high school game. She walked away giving us her patent celebration at the end of big games. But ladies, both became friends as well. They were able to take and team up to win a gold medal for the FIBA Women's AmeriCup USA team last year. Michaela said they got to learn each other in a different way, but now it's 2 of the top 3 scorers in the nation bringing the show to Fort Worth, and everyone is anticipating it.
The stage is set for our first Sweet 16 game of the weekend as we take a look at the starting lineups brought to you by Capital One. Well, who's the supporting cast along Hannah Hidalgo? How about Ayana Moore facing off against her former team in Vanderbilt? Cass Prosper having an excellent season. The freshman of the year out of the SEC, Aubrey Galvin, helping to be the floor general for Vanderbilt. Meanwhile, Sasha Washington trying to cap off a big-time final year with the Commodores, along with Justine Posada and Jacqueline Buenentanda. This Notre Dame team coming in at 24-10 overall on the season. Their head coach, Neil Ivey, in her 6th season at the helm at her alma mater. Shea Ralph, the SEC Coach of the Year, bringing the Commodores back here for the first time since 2009. As we get underway here, Notre Dame controlling the opening tip.
Look at this matchup. Vanderbilt will switch a lot. Who will have the responsibility to staying with Hannah Hidalgo?
Ball in the hands of Hidalgo. Contested shot with Washington in her face. Off the mark. Aubrey Godwin brings it back up for the Commodores. We'll look for number 1 in white for Vanderbilt as they get it inside to Washington. And picked up over to Justine Passat, being guarded on the perimeter by Kaz Prosper. And overshot Vanessa De Jesus, one of the transfers into the program. Nice bounce pass. Prosper can't finish at the rim.
And we were listening to the ladies in studio talk about who had the advantage. They talked about Notre Dame's experience because Vanderbilt's in uncharted territory. In the SEC tournament, there was a little bit of nerves. Ole Miss jumped on them early. Can Notre Dame do the same?
And the steals leader in the nation, Hannah Hidalgo, comes up with 1, and that's the first 2 points of the game. Hidalgo, who has had a great NCAA tournament thus far, averaging and collecting 8 steals in each of her last 2 games. Had another one there, steps on the end line. And now for Need to Know, brought to you by Intuit QuickBooks. His 22nd overall appearance in the Sweet 16. Again, Neil Ivey has led them to 5 straight, one of 3 teams in Division I. We'll see UConn later, South Carolina as well. But they're trying to turn their fate around and punch their ticket to the Elite 8 for the first time since 2019.
Another steal by Hannah Hidalgo. She is always, look, she is like, when there's chum in water, she's going after it.
She is just so instinctive on the defensive end, and she's done a nice job on the offensive end. We mentioned 3rd in the nation in scoring, better than 25 points a game, and she's played off of a number of players, the supporting cast who has held her up this season, as Prosper is off the mark. This Vanderbilt team coming in at 29-4 overall, finished tied for 2nd in the SEC, is Washington with a strong put-up. And she's fouled and will try to complete the 3-point play.
This is what I expect Vanderbilt to challenge from the beginning because of all the attention that is on the guards for both teams. Who's going to win this battle inside? Sasha Washington is the most veteran on the court to go inside, playing like a woman on a mission.
A player who was a part of Shea Routh's first recruiting class, and the way that she is trying to cap off her senior season, it's been fun to watch this young lady from Lawrenceville, Georgia.
Yeah, it's been amazing, the matchup she's had. I mean, she's played against the likes of a Reagan Beers in the SEC. She's used to going against bigger, stronger post players.
And drawing the foul is Blake. So Vanessa De Jesus picks up her first personal foul, Notre Dame's team's 2nd. And Galvin going right to the hoop, and again, the attack mentality that we've already seen from the Commodores.
Look, this is a defense from the leading scorer in the nation. She's gonna get down and get after it defensively. Gets De Jesus called for the offensive foul.
Sophomore out of Somerset, New Jersey, and I think that's what's not talked about as much. We see the scoring prowess of Michaela Blakes, but she is also an outstanding defender as well. Galvin makes the first free throw. And think about this, the first Sweet 16 appearance, and what an amazing first season for Aubrey Galvin out of Deerfield, Illinois.
Look, when we met with the team yesterday, it seemed like, you know, Blakes was pretty comfortable, Passat pretty comfortable. Aubrey Galvin was excited. Yeah, this freshman was so excited to continue to advance in this tournament.
Jump ball possession arrow goes in favor of the Commodores. And just to catch you up on what it has been, a historic season. Best program start in Vanderbilt history, was undefeated, 20-0 at one point. They were perfect at Memorial Gymnasium at home. Most SEC wins with 13 on the season, and they're hungry for more. Meanwhile, this group, Notre Dame, coming out of the ACC, boy, they have had their fair share of adversity, but I'll tell you, they've been anchored by core players like Hannah Hidalgo, Cass Prosper, who knocks down the shot, along with KK Bransford, who we'll see come off the bench.
Yeah, they had suffered, Notre Dame, a lot of injuries all season long. At one point in the season, it got down to having 6 players, but Neil Ivey kept the confidence of this team and stayed focused.
And Neil Ivey talked about the joy with which she is coaching this season because of the resiliency of this group. They were 3-5 in January. As you mentioned earlier, Carolyn, some question if they would make the NCAA tournament, but no doubt because they have turned things around in a major way in South Bend.
Well, big reason they played the month of January without KK Bransford, and having her back is huge. This is a player that's going to give you almost 8 points a game, 4 rebounds, and she's going to give you those hustle plays, help you win those 50-50 possessions.
That's number 14 in Navy as she's checked into the ball game. Hidalgo on Blake's 5 to work with on the shot clock. Bransford puts it up and is off the mark. Jackal Engel one in time to able to control it for the Commodores. Blake's searching for her first points of the game, off the mark. Hidalgo taking it right in. Hannah Hidalgo now with 4 points. And a Notre Dame 1-point lead.
Notre Dame able to score without having to set an offense because they're scoring in transition. That plays to the Irish's advantage.
Blake sloughs it up, no good. And a foul underneath the basket. And let's go back to Hannah Hidalgo, already off to quick starts. You say in transition, boom, she just blows by, takes the hoop.
Yeah, she's recognizing defense is not set. When she sees a lane to the basket, Hidalgo's going to take it.
Galvin on the inbound and winning Tondo over to Sasha Washington. Winning Tondo, of course, was a part of that Texas team that made it to the Final Four a season ago. Now finishing off her graduate season in Nashville. Well, jump ball, it's going to be Notre Dame basketball. Oh, correction, it's Vanderbilt basketball. As a couple of substitutions in. Jada Brown along with Ayanna Mitchell checking in the ball game for the Commodores, who are 1 of 7 from the floor to start this game. The kickback pass to Passat had that one partially deflected by Prosper. And the Commodore is going to have 8 seconds to work with on the shot clock. What have you seen from this Notre Dame defense thus far?
Well, they're keeping size on Michaela Blakes, or if she ends up with a smaller guard, they're always showing help to her and then contesting everything from 3 from Justine Passat.
Blakes puts it up and airmails it as Hidalgo grabs the rebound. Very active early on from Hannah Hidalgo. 4 points, 3 rebounds, couple of steals, but stolen away by Aubrey Galvin. And Galvin looking ahead to Blake's, that connection who has been so special all season long, and still not able to knock down the field goal is the nation's leading scorer. More than 5 minutes gone by in this Sweet 16 game.
Now, Michaela Blakes, ooh, that's a foul.
Indeed it was. It was whistled on the floor, and so we'll see free throws coming from Cass Prosper. The NCAA Women's Championship is presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet? The Sweet 16 is presented by Coca-Cola. Fan work is thirsty work. Welcome back. Time now for court coverage brought to you by Geico.
Hannah Hidalgo averages almost 6 steals a game. They credit her for 2. When I look at this, I'm giving her 3. So she has already made her defensive presence present in this first quarter.
And to add to that, let's send it over to Angel.
Ladies, well, Niele Ivey was just telling the team how proud she was on the defensive end on how they've been able to hold Vanderbilt, missing their last 7 shots on that floor. A 3-minute scoring drought, but she said it's because we're sticking together. She's also relayed to them they are blowing up their plays, meaning that they understand the scout, making sure they're in the right place defensively.
Thanks so much, Angel. And already just setting the tempo defensively. You've got the 2-time ACC Player of the Year and 3-time Defensive Player of the Year out of the league, and Hannah Hidalgo. And then Cass Prosper at the free throw line, 1 of 2. And the Fighting Irish lead by a possession. Ayanna Moore now in the ball game for Notre Dame as they try to get it to Blakes, but turn it over. And Shea Ralph, who saw her team come out somewhat like this in the SEC tournament, as they were a 2 seed. They had a double bye for the first time in a couple decades, and Ole Miss took it to them early on. They turned things around, of course, since that time, but trying to get off to a quicker start.
Well, but one thing Michaela Blakes is very good with is she's going to size up how the defense is playing her, and then she's going to figure it out. So she's feeling things out now. And Notre Dame continuing to try to switch up things defensively.
Looking to get it inside to Mitchell. Taken away by one of the captains for Notre Dame. That's KK Bransford on the way to the hoop, and she's fouled. Bransford, who has a couple of free throws upcoming out of Cincinnati, Ohio. Look there, just stepping in the passing lane.
Well, what the Notre Dame defense, when they trap right there, then you got 2 interceptors, and they are looking all around, almost like a free safety of where I can get that interception.
Bransford, who had 10 points in that second round win over Ohio State, a game in which Notre Dame had to battle back, and she was back in her home state. Well, coming up next, the Women's Sweet 16 continues on ESPN and the app at 5 Eastern with North Carolina taking on the #1 overall seed UConn, followed by Minnesota squaring off against 1 seed UCLA at 7:30, and the night capped off by Duke and LSU at 10 Eastern. The offensive foul waved off, and so the Fighting Irish right now, their game plan working to perfection to take out the nation-leading scorer as Washington sets the illegal screen.
It looked like Washington was running away, and Moore grabbed her by the waist. I don't know, D? What do you think on that one?
Well, let's bring in our rules analyst, D. Canton.
Carolyn, you're a pretty good referee.
I saw that right.
Yes, you did see it right. I think we got a little bit of a rip by the opponent, which fooled the referee.
I think this is the first time in our career that we agree.
I think it might be, actually. Write that one down, everyone.
Multiple and a turnover there. It's a 9-0 run right now for Notre Dame. And it seems as if Shea Ralph's group has just got to settle in. Obviously, so much attention and focus is paid on Michaela Blakes, but the game plan thus far really intact for the Fighting Irish.
Well, the Irish, and when you're in the NCAA tournament, your #1 focus has to be on the defensive end. I think that Vanderbilt has gotten a little rattled because they turned the ball over, they've missed some shots, and so there's a question mark. When your defense is working, you got a whole lot of confidence going the other direction.
Well, this is a Notre Dame team that averages about 24 turnovers a game so far in this first quarter. They forced 7 turnovers for the Doors.
I go back to the experience. The 5th Sweet 16 for this Notre Dame program, and specifically, they've got key returners who have been here before, so they're ready to handle the moment. This is new for Vanderbilt, so they've got to settle in and settle in fast.
And Hannah Hidalgo with the record in terms of steals We've already seen her break the ACC single season record, and now she's done it in Division I. Hannah Hidalgo's just a spectacular and dynamic guard that we have in our game right now. As Washington nearly falls to the floor, another steal right into the hands of Hidalgo. And then setting up the offense, Coles was trying to get position down low, but pacing things is the junior. And you got to get moving. Tried to dump it off to Bransford. And last touch by the Doors. So 5 seconds to work with on the shot clock on the inbound for Notre Dame.
Not only the defense that I'm impressed with Notre Dame, but the patience on the offensive end. Understanding, okay, Vanderbilt's turning the ball over and missing shots. You don't want to do the same thing on the other end. Be patient, deliberate, and get the shot you want.
Hidalgo takes a breather with 2:18 to go with the first quarter. And DeJesus on the inbound, looking, finds Moore, who takes it in, and somehow the circus shot rolls around and goes down. Well, Ayanna Moore is averaging about 15.5 points through the first 2 NCAA tournament games. Helps to stretch out the lead. Now 11-0 run for the Fighting Irish.
Yeah, Ayanna Moore missed the first 2 games of the season. She was recovering from a knee injury after the transfer from Vanderbilt, but this is a scoring threat. It was a great addition for the Irish.
Moore, the 50-year senior out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And Michaela Blake's at the line. Her first point of the game for the AP First Team All-American. And with those 2 made free throws, now she surpasses Caitlin Clark for 3rd most points in the first 2 seasons of NCAA Division I women's basketball. And that's quite the company there. You think about Juju Watkins, the fantastic season she had last year in her freshman campaign. Kelsey Mitchell, who was just a sniper when she was at Ohio State, now in the WNBA. As the left-hand finger roll put up and in by Hannah Hidalgo, and a great start for Hannah Hidalgo on both ends of the floor. She's got half a dozen points to go along with 4 steals.
Spacing is so important in this Notre Dame offense so that they can use their quickness.
Hits Moore in the back of the head, nearly coming up with a steal. Brown tried to save it. And it's going to be Notre Dame basketball.
Look how spread out the Notre Dame offense is. She sets up Jada Brown and then cuts back door. It's just too far for Saucy Washington to make that recovery for the help.
9 turnovers in this opening quarter for Vanderbilt, trailing by 8. Now the 5th turnover there for Notre Dame. Last time these 2 programs met back in the Elite 8 back in 2001. Another steal coming up with it. Moore overshoots it, and Washington gets the rebound. Bounce pass out to Brown. She pushes it up the floor. Over to Galvin behind the back, loses the handle, but they're going to say it was last off of Coles.
You watch every time Michaela Blakes gets the basketball on the offensive end, it's either a quick switch or 2 are going to her.
And the idea that we heard from Neil Ivey, just as there is such a great respect for the game of Michaela Blake, she didn't necessarily say we're going to shut her down, but we've tried to find ways to limit her in the best ways possible, contest everything, and make it difficult. And thus far, Notre Dame has done exactly that.
Yeah, but Michaela Blakes has been savvy about drawing fouls. She's drawn over 288 fouls this season. One of the best, because you either had if you don't switch to stop her, You got to foul her because she's going to the rack.
Second in the nation, to your point, Carolyn, in terms of drawing fouls. And this is a player who's a National Player of the Year candidate. We'll see a couple in our next game with AZ Fudd and Sarah Strong with UConn.
But you see how patient Notre Dame is with the 4 spread. Going to use as much of the clock as possible.
Hidalgo goes to work with 7, swings it over to Moore, fakes inside to Coles, and Coles a second chance opportunity, no, and Blakes holds to try to get the final shot for the Commodores of this first quarter. Blakes crossover, runner, no, Galvin, rebound, put back and in. We knew that this would be an exciting game. Hey, look, the stars already shining in this one with Hannah Hidalgo going to work. Michaela Blakes, all 4 of her points from the free throw line. Ladies and gentlemen, this is just getting started from Fort Worth.
Don't know why, but I feel like freedom. I hear a song that takes me back, and I...
Coach, before that last bucket for Vanderbilt, they had as many turnovers as field goals. What do you like most about your defensive start?
Yeah, I think we're locked.
Well, thanks so much. And you think about just what we saw there. 6 steals in the first quarter. This is a team that averages better than 13 a game, nearly halfway there. They turned and forced turnovers for Vanderbilt and made things incredibly difficult for Michaela Blakes.
Yeah, Michaela Blakes 0 for 6. And the luxury that Notre Dame has is their help defender can be a player with size, whether it be Cass Prosper or KK Bransford, even Giselle Sanchez being able to rotate with length. You see KK Bradford, now she's late getting there, but still length, there's a hand of distraction. Missing the 3. A switch there. Cass Prosper causes a problem. Again, rotating on Sanchez inside. There's been no easy looks for Michaela Blakes. Now, I have seen the adjustment Blakes to make it start with the basketball and just break you down one-on-one to get going. And then when that ponytail flips, it's on.
Meanwhile, Prosper going right at Justine Passat, gets it back. Passat deflecting it away again. Blakes rolls on it, and it's going to be Vanderbilt basketball.
Trying to go at Justine Passat. This is a player that has struggled with foul trouble inside, and it's going to be very important that she stay available for the Commodores.
And she, along with Blakes, played all 10 minutes in that opening quarter. Another steal for Notre Dame. Moore looking, finding Hidalgo in the corner. Kick back over. Moore from 3, front rim.
Woo, that's a rebound by Yana Mitchell.
Couldn't hold on to it. Moore trying once more, dialing it up from South Bend, and rims off. Well, the struggles in that first half, just 2 of 12 from the floor for Vanderbilt. We'll see if they're able to turn things around as the Jesus picking up a personal foul. That's her second personal.
Yeah, this is a Vanderbilt team that they average 19 assists a game. They're used to being able to make the ball pop. But the pressure from Notre Dame, you got to take a second look, and that's where you've got to give your teammates time for a backdoor cut.
A little space there, but the 3 won't drop for Blakes. Hidalgo coming up with a weak side rebound. Puts it up and leaves it short. Michaela Blakes, we mentioned, the nation's leading scorer, averaging 27 points a game, but they have been hard to come by. No field goals for Blakes. All 4 of her points have come from the free throw line. Bounce pass, great find from Coles to Prosper. Well, I really love just the evolution of Cass Prosper and the way that she has come on and developed this season for the Fighting Irish. most improved player in the ACC.
Yeah, she's one of the core players that returned, one of the 3 that came back for Notre Dame. And she said she really worked on her self-confidence and knew that she could be a major part of this program.
More inside, a wide open Malaya Coles. And Malaya Coles, who transferred over from Wake Forest, originally from North Carolina. Timeout taken on the floor. It's Vanderbilt spinning at 7:45 remaining in the first half. The NCAA Women's Championship presented by Capital One on ESPN is brought to you by Royal Caribbean. It's big time. Come see the Royal Caribbean.
Notre Dame with an 8-point lead, and it's because Vanderbilt only shooting 13%, 11 turnovers. They're letting the offense affect their defense. So now you're a step late, a step slow when you've got Michaela Blakes and you've got Justine Passat in the corner. They're more worried about their player. They're still thinking about what happened on the other end, that they're not ready to go.
With this Vanderbilt team led 5-2 early, but folks, if you're just tuning in, it's been Notre Dame since 17-6 run, and another steal from Hannah Hidalgo. She's got 5 so far this afternoon, and she has recorded 5 or more steals, and she's got another one quickly back. Half a dozen steals as Hidalgo has been the difference maker on defense for the Fighting Irish.
I told you, if Hannah Hidalgo is on the floor, you better protect your pocket, because she's going to take it from you as often as she can.
Setting the record for most steals in a season in Division I history. We talked about that earlier as a tie-up. I'm going to tell you, we are sitting nearby with Skylar Diggins, the former Notre Dame great, who did something that Hannah did as well in terms of 5 or more steals in an NCAA tournament game. And look, rare company that Hidalgo is in, and the Fighting Irish great loving seeing her team out to this 10-point lead. Trying to make their first Elite 8 since 2019. Too strong from Prosper. Well, again, Carolyn, you talked about just the experience of Notre Dame and the lack thereof for this Vanderbilt team.
Well, the difference in the defense. Notre Dame has got their hands all over you. They are up and aggressive. Vanderbilt on the defensive end more into a gap defense, so there's more pressure.
There she's out. And running again as Hidalgo picks the pocket. Another steal, 7 in total in this first half for Hannah Hidalgo. Remember, she had 8 in each of her first 2 NCAA tournament games this season.
So now how does Vanderbilt accommodate that? They've got to be more patient offensively. They got to get Michaela Blakes going. But I would say also use some back screen action to the basket.
First field goal for Blakes. She was 0 of 8 before that shot went down. So a 10-point advantage for Notre Dame, the 6th seed, as Passat whistled for the foul.
Because Hannah Hidalgo is so active, and at times she'll even leave her player because she knows she's going to be the first to the ball. She's got that kind of quickness. Just the steal and then score mentality.
And you asked her just about what goes into the mind of, you know, the art of the steal and how she's so effective. Obviously staying one step ahead, but for you, what do you notice most on the defensive end?
She anticipates when the opportunity is going to be there. I think her mindset, she said she wants to make the opponent uncomfortable. I think she's a little hungrier than that.
And the way she elevates in the lane and puts it in, well, Hannah Hidalgo is having herself an outstanding first half. 12 points, 7 steals, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists for the junior. We talk about the stars who shine bright on these big stages, and right now, it's all about Hannah Hidalgo and her Notre Dame Fighting Irish. The block from Hidalgo. ladies and gentlemen, when you think about all the stat stuffing that Hannah Hidalgo does with her play, she tries to get another right there, and she's whistled for the foul. She kind of pinballed between a couple of Vanderbilt defenders.
Hannah Hidalgo and defense. She could have a picture in the dictionary for the defense she brings and then the scoring strike as well. It's been all Hannah Hidalgo so far in this first half.
Coming up on the Dove Beauty Bar halftime report, we're going to talk even more about Hannah Hidalgo making history today.
Yeah, Vanderbilt has 15 turnovers. 11 of those are steals. 7 of those steals are from Hannah Hidalgo. She made history.
Yeah, Hannah Hidalgo, this is probably one of the best defensive performances I've ever seen in my entire life.
4:46 left in the half. We will see you at halftime. Notre Dame up 12.
Well, thanks so much. It has been a spectacular show of defense, as they just mentioned, from Hannah Hidalgo. And for more on that, let's send it over to the homie Angel Gray, because let's look at this last sequence. Boom, right here, Hidalgo with the theft. Angel, what you got?
Well, first of all, I don't have 7 steals like Hannah Hidalgo, but what I do have is that she was able to talk to her mentor, Skylar Diggins. She was able to pass her this year for the most steals in program history. I talked to Skylar, she said 7 steals, well, we need 20. This is a player that always plays with a tenacity, a vision for what this program needs to be, the standard for what's it like to win with this program. She said, in my eyes, it is no doubt that she is the defensive player of the year, how she brings it on both ends. You should expect players to always want to be a two-way player. She demands it of herself, ladies.
You see how hard she plays on the defensive end. I love a player that their number one priority is defense, not how many points they score, because you can build around that. And that kind of intensity, it becomes infectious on your team. Now, how does Vanderbilt combat that? One of the things I used to do as a coach, the best defensive player, I'd run my offense opposite her. So that you can handle the ball away from her, and then whoever she's guarding that's away, you can screen, buying that offensive player room as she comes to the ball.
Well, Coach, if you could draw it up for Shea Ralph, maybe she would do it here and run away from Hannah Hidalgo. She talked about making ball handlers fearful of her and uncomfortable. And a traveling violation against KK Bransford.
Now Vanderbilt going with a lineup of having 4 guards on the floor with Ayanna Mitchell. So can they be patient and spread the floor like Notre Dame was doing to them?
Brown in the corner was asking for it, but a 3-second violation, and they hand it right back over.
Yeah, turnovers have been the Achilles heel today for Vanderbilt.
16 in total for the Commodores. And the Fighting Irish have scored 12 points off of those turnovers.
Now Vanderbilt really has 5 guards on the floor with Justine Passat inside.
Passat, 6'4", coming out of Toms River, New Jersey, hands high, facing Coles.
Vanderbilt in their matchup zone.
High arcing jump shot won't fall. And Blakes tries to flip it in. And I'll tell you, that's a savvy way of picking up points. Shots not falling for you, but she's making another trip to the free throw line. 6 of 6 thus far from the charity stripe this afternoon.
Well, and one of the things Neil Ivey said that her team was going to have to defend Michaela Blake's by committee. So when she's driving, there's got to be help there.
Well, coverage of the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship continues on CBS and TBS. For tournament game times and networks, go to ncaa.com.
Blake's got 9 points, and she's only made 1 field goal. Now, something to keep an eye on for Notre Dame. They've got they've got 4 players with 2 fouls.
Hidalgo showing off the handles, pulls it back out, going right back towards the hoop. Tough shot, no. And Blakes comes down with the rebound.
You got to compliment Jada Brown for the defense on Hidalgo that possession.
Pull up three, rims off for Blakes. And then another foul going against Notre Dame. That's against Ayanna Moore, her first personal, team's fourth.
So now for the rest of this quarter, Vanderbilt will be in the bonus.
Blakes not able to knock it down. Just 1 of 11 from the floor for Michaela Blakes. Aubrey Galvin tries to take it in. Circus, oh my goodness! Did y'all just see that? Woo-wee! Okay, Aubrey Galvin. Got some oohs and ahs inside Dickey Arena.
One of the things that Shea Ralph says about Aubrey Galvin, she's unbothered. And this young freshman may have struggled early on, but she got tricks up her sleeve, and she ain't gonna go away. This young freshman is special.
She walked onto the West End campus of Vanderbilt and has immediately made her presence felt, whether it's being a great distributor of the basketball, showing off those dynamic moves like that, but also just the, you talked about unfazed, I think it's just a swagger and a confidence that she brings from Illinois.
The first time I got to meet Aubrey Galvin, I went to Vanderbilt's practice before they headed over to Paris, and it was the first time I got to see her, and I sat there. I was wowed for the full 2 hours of practice, and then I talked to her after, and I was like, where does that swag come from? She goes, well, I work out with Jewel Lloyd. I've studied Jason Williams and Steve Nash. I don't know if she was even born when they played, but she has really, she said, I would get bored on the court, so I would look for things to stretch my game, and it's plays like that.
You think about the years that Jewel Lloyd had at Notre Dame, an All-American, WNBA champion. And Galvin launches the three. She got it! First triple of the afternoon hit for the Commodores. They're on a 9-0 run. They draw within a possession. Hidalgo going right into the rack.
And that's a one-woman offense right there, even out of a double team.
And she has been a one-woman wrecking crew in this first half. Galvin hit check. Back-to-back threes on that end of the floor for Galvin and the Commodores. Things heating up now.
Back and forth play. You got Galvin heating up. Hidalgo, she will answer the challenge.
Blakes and Prosper on the tie-up. Let's look back at those Galvin threes.
Talk about a freshman that's unbothered. Aubrey Galvin had already made 57 threes coming into the season. Not one, but 2 in a row to get Vanderbilt back in this thing.
Well, Aubrey Galvin told us yesterday she's been preparing for this moment, so you got to be ready so you don't have to get ready. Galvin, half a dozen points, the rest of the team 13, or rather a dozen points. The rest of the team has 13, so she has really lifted her game here in this second quarter. Passat on the take to the rack, no. And Prosper protecting that rebound. Hidalgo kicks it over to Moore. Ava Black making it difficult and forcing the turnover there as they get it in the hands of Blakes.
Now remember,
2-point ball game.
Hannah Hidalgo's got 2 fouls.
Leaves it short, does Blakes. Final minute of the first half. This Sweet 16 game, the winner will move on to the Elite 8 as Prosper is fouled. Justine Passat picking up the personal foul. That's her second. Cass Prosper, the senior out of Montreal, Quebec, is at the line. When you think about a player, you talked about part of that nucleus who returns. And for Cass Prosper, again, she has embraced a greater role this season for the Fighting Irish. Thrived in all areas. We talked about her scoring improvement from last year. This year, nearly a 9-point jump. And she knocks down both free throws and pushing the lead back out to 4.
Vanderbilt could go 2 for 1.
Blake's trying it, no call, a lot of contact as Hidalgo pushing back the other way, trying to step around Jada Brown and puts it in. And Hannah Hidalgo has been outstanding in this first half. 16 points, 8 of 13 from the floor for the junior guard. Aubrey Galvin is fouled on the way up. So she'll take a trip to the line with 9.9 seconds remaining in the first half. And that's Vanessa De Jesus' 3rd personal foul. So that's something to keep an eye on as the primary ball handler for the Irish.
Yeah, that's very important because that allows Hannah Hidalgo to play off the ball. And then also Vanessa De Jesus is another 3-point threat that helps spread the floor. So when she's out of the game, Vanderbilt can sag to help toward Hidalgo a little bit more. Vanderbilt's going to have to pick up Hidalgo on this possession because she got enough time to make something special happen.
Hidalgo, they try to help, but the sauce just rims off. And that takes us to the close of the first half. And Hannah Hidalgo wanted that one indeed. Hey, Notre Dame led by as many as 12 in that first half. And they take the lead into the locker room, 31-26. In Fort Worth, Dickies Arena, a great showdown between Notre Dame and Vanderbilt as we get set to start the third quarter. Back here with you alongside Carolyn Peck, I'm Tiffany Greenwell. If you're Notre Dame, you feel good. You took the lead into the locker room. If you're Vanderbilt, though, however, Michaela Blake's struggle, nation's leading scorer and only down by 5.
Well, Notre Dame has known how to guard her. One of the things Michaela Blake likes to do is drive to the basket, get that runner, or get a no-gather drive to the basket, and more times than not, she's gotten the call and gotten to the free throw line. Now, today, she's only got 1 field goal, but she's 8 for 8 from the free throw line, but those calls have not been as frequent.
And you're taking a look at that shot chart. You talked about just the struggles from the field in that first half, and as we look at the star stories, brought to you by United Airlines. We came on the air talking about these 2 guards going way back to New Jersey. They faced off against each other in high school, and then they played together with USA Basketball. 16 points for Hannah Hidalgo, 3rd leading scorer in the nation, and also the best interceptor, if you will, steals getter in the country. She had 7 in that first half.
It's been the other number 3 for Vanderbilt. Aubrey Galvin has 13 points that has kept the Commodores in striking distance.
She scored the last 9 points for the Doors going into the locker room. Vanessa De Jesus thought about the 3, tried to get it inside, deflected, and taken away by Vanderbilt. Blake's in double figures with 10. Along with Galvin, who leads the way for Vanderbilt with 13. Quick release for Blake Snow, offensive rebound, and then stolen away by Cass Prosper out of the break. 14 fast break points we have seen from Notre Dame so far in this game. When they get running and in transition, things happen quickly.
Yeah, Notre Dame's best offense has been Vanderbilt's turnovers. Again, another one.
Into the hands of Hidalgo, going right in, and she's fouled. Galvin whistled for the foul. So first team foul for the Commodores as that sends Hannah Hidalgo to the line. A star-studded game we have here with Hidalgo out of Merchantville, New Jersey. Grew up just about an hour away from Somerset, New Jersey, where Michaela Blakes is from. As here's our Saturday Sweet 16 matchups for you at 12:30 Eastern on ABC. It's Louisville squaring off against Michigan, followed by Kentucky taking on the 1 seed Texas over on ESPN. Then Oklahoma faces off against the 1 seed South Carolina, followed by the 10 seed, lone double-digit 10 seed still standing in Virginia, taking on TCU.
I love the women's game has a Cinderella story with Virginia, and then you also have the rematch of South Carolina and Oklahoma. Oklahoma was the team that got a victory over the Gamecocks this season.
Was able to win on their home floor in overtime over the Gamecocks, as that one following her own shot, and Aubrey Galvin stepping up on the biggest stage of her college career, her first ever Sweet 16. Prosper over to Ayanna Moore, the sharpshooter for three, has it halfway go down and pop back out.
What I'm looking for, Tiffany, is in the SEC tournament, Michaela Blakes 0 for 10 in the first half field goals, but she ended up with 24 points in that game.
But you get contributions like that unexpectedly from Winantanda knocking down the top of the key three, and it's a 4-point ball game. You look for this Notre Dame team, Prosper with 9 points, Hannah Hidalgo with 18. Who else is going to be a part of that supporting cast for the Irish here?
Ayanna Moore. She can shoot at 23, he's got range.
Dumps it inside the Coles, and a shot clock violation for Notre Dame.
Notre Dame looked to be in a sort of a zone. Galvin takes the contested three, but doesn't give up on it. The freshman has that second effort. And then Jackalenga, Winantanda, doesn't make many threes, but that one was right on time.
Just her 20th triple of the season, as Galvin being guarded by the much bigger Prosper, and the turnover on the baseline into the hands of Hidalgo.
That's another steal for Hidalgo.
And they turn it into points. You said that earlier, that's the best medicine thus far for this Notre Dame team, as they have capitalized, scoring 18 points off of 19 turnovers for Vanderbilt, make it 20 now. And put in another deuce for Hannah Hidalgo now with 20 points.
Let me tell you what's fun to watch is Hannah steals or scores, comes down the floor, and looks at Skylar Diggins.
Well, we heard Angel talk about just the great mentor that she is, as Jada Brown knocks down the three. So 4 of 14 from beyond the arc, and those threes helping to keep things close for Vanderbilt.
Yeah, no lead is comfortable for the Irish because of the three-point threat of Vanderbilt. Oh, what a quick step by Prosper.
Well, I tell you, just again, the way that she has taken her game to this next level, member of the Olympic Canadian team, and then knocked down the triple right there. Blakes, those field goals who have been hard to come by for her, the long two. One-handed pass into KK Bransford, and Ayanna Moore is making a difference against her former team.
Yeah, Ayanna Moore is a player that has played the point when she was at Vanderbilt, so she can be a great facilitator.
Just tuning in, it has been the defensive effort from Notre Dame that has really been the difference in this one. Hannah Hidalgo has been spectacular. And again, this is a team who had a slow start, some question marks coming into the season, had to battle through some injuries. But, you know, one thing that Nia Ivey told us was the way that her team took another level of accountability and the type of intensity that she had to bring was matched by her players.
Yeah, even in that up and down season, the confidence that Niele Ivey exuded helped this team to stay together.
And among what makes this matchup so interesting, two former players winning national championships in college. Niele Ivey did it under Muffet McGraw, helping the Irish to bring home their first ever natty. Shea Ralph did it with UConn, and they did it in back-to-back seasons. And right now, it's a 43-36 advantage for Notre Dame. Well, the NCAA Women's Championship presented by Capital One on ESPN is brought to you by Tropical Smoothie Cafe. Eat some good. Certainly sending our thoughts and prayers as we don't know the condition of Tiger Woods in that car accident. As we welcome you back here to Fort Worth, Carolyn Peck, Tiffany Green, along with Angel Gray and Dee Cantner, a 43-36 lead for the 6th seed Notre Dame Fighting Irish trying to get back to the Elite Eight for the first time since 2019. It's been a much longer drought for the Vanderbilt Commodores, and been back since 2002.
Yeah, the biggest problem in the differential is points off turnovers. Notre Dame is winning that 8-2.
Losing the handle, and now that ties a season high for turnovers with 20 now for the Commodores.
Yeah. Notre Dame winning that 18-2 points off turnovers.
Posada on the floor finds Coles inside, and Malaya Coles puts it in. Malaya Coles now with 8 points, as Notre Dame has had success in the paint with 36, but a nice answer back the other way for the Doors.
Yeah, Aubrey Galvin reading that, putting on the moves in the middle of the floor, and then Passat continuing to move.
The first points of the day, one of the players in double figures for a season average for the Commodores. Moore launching three, no. Black coming down with the rebound. One of the freshmen on this team, along with Aubrey Galvin. And Blake's working inside. No call there, some contact. She ends up on the floor. Hannah Hidalgo has the ball in her hands and runs right into Passat. Count the bucket. Just in talking to Hannah Hidalgo yesterday, she came into this game with a different level of intensity in her eyes.
Yeah, and the Sweet 16 has been an area where Hannah Hidalgo has struggled offensively. That has not been the case, and I believe today Hidalgo came into this game with the focus on the defensive end, didn't worry about making shots, because in her previous Sweet 16, 0 for 6 from the three-point line. Today, she has been very aggressive.
That's an excellent point, Carolyn. You think about how she performed in those first couple of rounds, 20-plus points, but again, when she makes it to the Sweet 16, it's been a different story, averaging just about 12 and a half points in the round of 16 as Galvin comes back the other way with the mid-range jumper.
In the SEC tournament, with the slow offensive start, it took Shea Ralph to getting ejected from that game to fuel the energy of the Commodores. And the one thing she was frustrated with was the amount of contact that Michaela Blakes received with no calls.
Mitchell grabbing the rebound. And the officiating crew today is certainly let him play here as Passat off the mark from 3. And through the first 2 quarters, it was Notre Dame who had players that we were monitoring in terms of foul trouble with Hidalgo, Prosper, and Bransford, who had 2 to start this quarter, along with 3 for De Jesus, but they have since managed that well thus far with 1:50 remaining in this 3rd quarter. And Neil Ivey just talked about the trust and togetherness of this group. And when we watched her in that last game, she was very emotional after that win against Ohio State. She was concerned about them getting off to a slow start. They were down by 11 points at one point as Galvin is fouled on the 3. But they came out here with a quick start. They put their foot on the gas in that first quarter to really take control of this game thus far.
Well, Neil Ivey's been here before. And so understanding with the pressure coming into the Sweet 16, a lot of times players can be worried about, am I going to make my shot? I hope the offense works. What did Neil Ivey do? Put the focus on the defensive end. And you got to stop the top scorer in the country in Michaela Blakes, and the confidence a team gets when that is successful.
For the 6th straight year, every NCAA Women's Championship game is on the networks of ESPN. For more information, go to ncaa.com. Of course, we've got another one coming your way with North Carolina and UConn right after this one. We'll see Minnesota, UCLA in action along with Duke and LSU tonight, and then another slate of 4 games in the Sweet 16 coming your way tomorrow.
Now we get to call that UConn-North Carolina game, then we got to find somewhere quick to watch the games the rest of the night, because this tournament's going to be spicy.
In and out for Gisela Sanchez. Sanchez on the miss, and I'll tell you this, the defending champion UConn Huskies have arrived. AZ Fudd, KK Arnold, looking to continue their quest of an undefeated season. Don't shy away from the camera, baby girl. Look, stars shine. All eyes on your game. Sarah Strong, Player of the Year candidates, finalists, as they have been ever efficient. And when you watch AZ Fudd play, I mean, so efficient.
Now that she got her nails done, 8 for 10 from the 3-point line in their last game.
Gina Oriema having something to say about just filing down those nails. Don't be so aggressive towards the basketball, as a nice step through from KK Bransford. The lead back out to 8.
Where Notre Dame has turned up, rebounding, because Vanderbilt was dominating in that category.
33-21 on the boards in favor of Notre Dame as Galvin swings it over to Blakes. And Blakes, tough make, kissing it off the glass. 14 points now for Blakes. Where buckets have just been tough to come by for the nation's leading scorer. Just her 3rd made field goal. And now about a 2-second differential between the shot clock and game clock.
Got to trap Hidalgo, otherwise she can make magic happen.
Hidalgo going to work, the handle showing off, and pops out. Wrestling for the basketball, it's going to be Vanderbilt ball with 1 second remaining in the 3rd.
There's enough time.
The gather, and left short. So just 6 points separate these 2 teams, but I'll tell you this, Hannah Hidalgo has put on a show all NCAA tournament, and it has continued here this afternoon. Her team 10 minutes away from moving on to the Elite Eight. 6-point ball game as we start the 4th quarter. Standing by is Angel Gray with head coach Shay Ralph. As we take a look at the Players Spotlight, brought to you by Hilton. And Hannah Hidalgo in that third quarter continuing with more of the same in this game.
Yeah, she has 7 points and has just been focused and tenacious in finishing. She also had 4 assists in that third quarter, as well as 3 rebounds. So she stacked the stack sheet in that third quarter. Look, she is hunting, wanting to get to the Elite Eight.
I love it. You said the reference earlier about, like, you know, sharks in the water and seeing that chum come down. She smells blood in the water. She has put her foot on the gas and is not taking it off thus far. She indeed has been the engine to power this Notre Dame team. And she's trying to push them on to victory and into the Elite Eight.
If Vanderbilt wants to get to the Elite Eight, they've got to continue as this game progresses of cutting down the turnovers. 10 in the first quarter, 6 in the second quarter, only 4 in that third. They're going to have ball security in this fourth if they don't want their season to be over.
The winner of this one will face off against our second game winner between UConn and North Carolina, which is coming up roughly at 5 o'clock Eastern, or about 30 minutes after this one concludes. And as Hannah Hidalgo continuing to drop points and answering back the other way. We set this star-studded matchup between two guards who knew each other from New Jersey, played against and with each other throughout their career. Hannah Hidalgo has the advantage, won one in high school, and then her AAU team, she's trying to best to get 3 in a row.
It's going to be these two New Jersey players that are going to decide the outcome of this one.
Great find and bounce pass, but the block from Ayanna Mitchell of that shot from Prosper. Back the other way, it's Blake's. No gather as it bounces off, but she'll go to the line.
Michaela Blake's having Coles in the ball screen. She has been helping in the paint, so that gives space for Blake's to get shots. I look for Vanderbilt to go back to more of that.
When you think back to that first half, just 1 field goal on 13 attempts. She had the majority of her points coming from the free throw line. She is a perfect 10 of 10 from the line this afternoon.
Now Vanderbilt extending their defense, little pressure to take time off the clock, but once Hannah gets it now, there's got to be a help rotation. Galvin's got the responsibility on the ball. Who's going to rotate to help?
Well overshot by DeJesus. Jada Brown on the way to the hoop and draws the foul. So that's Hannah Hidalgo's 3rd personal foul. And Brown will shoot 2. So Jada Brown, one of the seniors on this team out of Bentonville, Arkansas. We talked earlier about just the resurgence that we have seen from this Vanderbilt program under Shea Ralph's leadership. Jada Brown was a part of that first signing class for Ralph. She, along with Sasha Washington and Ayanna Moore, was also a part of it now with Notre Dame.
And Shea Ralph really compliments the dependability of Jada Brown, especially on the defensive end. See Brown, she's going to shade wherever Hannah Hidalgo is.
And Hidalgo just can't be stopped. Hannah Hidalgo, who has just put on a show this afternoon. And we wondered who would take the shine, but also sharing that spotlight is Michaela Blake's, as she's come alive here in the second half.
Well, instead of going in and with the layup, she's playing off 2 feet, finishing in the paint.
1 possession ball game. 5th straight Sweet 16 for the Fighting Irish. Moore kicks out to DeJesus. Open look from 3. Corner pocket, got it. Well, one of the 3-point threats And the first three for Notre Dame. But when you think about the Jesus, the dependability, the coachability that she has brought to this Notre Dame team, no on that take from Galvin. And let's bring it back.
Well, Hannah Hidalgo going strong with her left with the finish before the rotation can be there. And then Michaela Blakes with some shifty ball handling, playing off 2 feet to get the finish in the paint.
Blake's 1 of 15 to start again, folks, and then 4 of 5 since that point. And we talked about this matchup coming in. These two guards going head to head. Blake's nation's leading scorer. Hidalgo, 3rd in the nation. The double team brought over, left more open. And can't hit the open 3. And Hidalgo tried to get those quick hands. Last touch by the Irish.
Yeah, Hannah Hidalgo's not going to give up on a play. Post players, when you rebound the ball, look, if you don't hug it, Hannah Hidalgo's had a shot at getting at it.
You know, just relentless, just has a great nose for the basketball, does Hidalgo.
She's so competitive.
Galvin picks up the dribble, finds Brown. Single digits now on the shot clock. Over to Blakes. And Blakes with the and one. Well, she hits the deck a whole lot of times during the game, but when she can be rewarded with a bucket, she'll take it.
Now, earlier in this game, Michaela Blakes was trying this, and there was a no call, but Dee, what was it that you saw earlier that's the difference now that the officials are blowing the whistle?
Well, on that particular call, and you have to understand, officials focus on refereeing the defense. And often, Michaela Blakes goes to the basket and initiates contact into a legally established defender and then falls to the floor and looks at us like, where's the foul? That one, the defense is going towards her and makes illegal contact. The difference in the plays.
Well, 6.5 minutes to go. Thanks for that, Dee. 3-point ball game. Important to note, Cass Prosper picked up her 4th personal foul, so she's on the bench. Again, the way that she has contributed on both ends of the floor. We'll see who else can try to rebound and score the way that she's done as the Jesus. Another open look from 3. No, as Passat is able to haul it in. And Galvin, the freshman point guard for Vanderbilt, slowing things down off the screen. The 3, she hits the tie. That was all in a rhythm for Aubrey Galvin, who has knocked down 3 threes in this game, but that one was a big one. And you talked about the rebounding margin for Vanderbilt. Grabbing another board, 39-22. The spin move won't fall in. And Hidalgo can push the pace. She's got numbers going right in, reads it all, and puts it in. 29 points for Hannah Hidalgo. Well, she's already threatened with a couple of triple-doubles in her first 2 games. And the savvy play from the junior guard as the offensive foul against Vanderbilt. The NCAA Women's Championship is presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet? Let's take a look at the Capital One rewarding performance.
Michaela Blakes only 10 points in the first half, 13 in the second because of this play right here. Look, once she was able to get the ball and go to work, I think this turned things up for Michaela Blakes. Scoring on 2 right there. She figured out, I play off 2 feet, my game will come back to me. And so since then, Michaela Blakes has brought the Vanderbilt Commodores into within 2 against the Notre Dame Irish.
For more on that, let's send it over to Angel.
And that's because when I was able to talk to Vandy's strength and conditioning coach, Jenna Reddy, I asked her what it was like trying to train Michaela Blakes, and she said the message for this season was strong things don't break. She has a mentality that you cannot train. She was labeling it as the Connexon wearable technology that they use, where we've already tracked that she runs about 4 miles in a game, but her relentlessness, being able to stay and sustain that type of motor is what's helped her the most.
And after the block on one in, the nice dazzling pass from Galvin inside to Mitchell. And a tie ball game once again. Thanks so much, Angel. As things continue to heat up, just over 4 minutes to go. Notre Dame trying to break their curses. Mitchell with the emphatic block there.
Talk about a freshman, though, that is unbothered. You watch Galvin. She's got shooters all around, but keeps her eye on Ayanna Mitchell, who continues to run the floor. Don't follow the eyes. Tricks are for kids.
Third block of the afternoon on the defensive end for Vanderbilt to go along with the fantastic dish from Galvin as a tough shot from Hidalgo off the miss. And on the break, it's Blakes. No call there. A lot of contact, and it's going to be Notre Dame basketball.
It was all ball. Ayanna Moore up top has her hand on the ball. A high five.
And Decantner is shaking her head. She is agreeing, indeed. So I'll rescind my comment of the contact piece of it. Even at 59 all for Notre Dame, they've lost the last 4 Sweet 16s. There's DeJesus with the offensive foul. DeJesus now with 4 personal fouls along with Prosper.
But what you have to appreciate, Michaela Blakes thought she should have gotten the call on the other end. She didn't. She didn't hang her head or pout, but came down on the other end and made a tremendous defensive play for the Commodores. And in the first half, Blakes was 1 for 13 from the floor. In this second half, she's 5 of 10.
Off 1 foot, no. Mitchell trying to corral the rebound on the O-board, and it goes into the hands of Notre Dame. Notre Dame takes a timeout. We will step aside here as well with 3:17 remaining. Notre Dame led by as many as 12, but it's an even ball game, 59 all with more than 3 minutes to go. Our Angel Gray listened in to the Notre Dame huddle just moments ago.
And just looking at the huddle, they were passing around water, applesauce, and even anything for fuel. And the voice of Notre Dame, often referred to as the X Factor, KK Branson, telling her team, I know you're tired, but you have to dig deep. We need everything you got on the defensive end, challenging them for these last 3 minutes and 17 seconds to give it everything on the defensive end.
Well, thanks so much, Angel. They talked about KK's return to the floor and the difference that it made, the presence that she has, the voice that she provides for this team, as you just mentioned. And right now, an open look for more, no. As Notre Dame, who has led more than 31 minutes in this ball game, but Vanderbilt now with the possession and a chance to take the lead. Mitchell finds Blakes, a little opening, and rims off. Hidalgo slowing the pace down in the half court.
Hidalgo off ball screens. In this horn set, they have been able to find shooters in the corner.
As you just mentioned, CP, and Moore can't connect. And that is a big foul because that's number 5 on Vanessa DeJesus. She fouls out the ball game with just over 2 minutes to go. And DeJesus, her afternoon is done. And so the ball will be in the hands of Hidalgo quite a bit, along with Moore, who can also share those ball handling duties, as Blake's is at the line. First missed free throw of the afternoon for the sophomore.
And Skylar Diggins giving advice to Hannah Hidalgo and helping her stay focused to close out. And there's a little over 2 minutes left to go.
First lead of the game for Vanderbilt. You have to go back to the first quarter when they led 5-4, but quickly grabbed right back by Notre Dame. The make from Moore, 61-60, inside of 2 minutes. And a trip to the Elite Eight on the line. Blake's grabs the lead right back. She elevates on that jumper. 26 points now for Blake's.
See now, KK Bransford, you don't have Vanessa and DeJesus as a 3 option. It's Iona Moore, the top of your string.
Prosper taking it in. The blocking foul going against Vanderbilt. And Justine Passat whistled for her fourth personal foul.
It's almost as if now Michaela Blakes knows that Hannah Hidalgo is coming as she turns and gathers. When that window opens just enough, she knocks it down. And then Justine Passat, a little too late there on Prosper.
Timeout taken with 1:28 remaining. And a 1-point advantage for the 2-seed Vanderbilt Commodores. First time since 2009 they've made it to the Sweet 16. Last time they won a Sweet 16 game was in 2002. As UConn, who's making yet another repeat appearance on this stage, 32 consecutive Sweet 16s, and the #1 overall seed getting ready to face off against North Carolina. The Tar Heels, can they pull off the upset? And right now, looking at this 1-point ball game, 2 timeouts remaining for each. Vanderbilt does have 2 fouls to give. Meanwhile, they are in the bonus the rest of the way as Prosper misses the first of 2.
And here's where Vanderbilt has been able to stay in the game. They have attempted 23 free throws. They're 19 of 23, and they are in the bonus.
Tied once again, 62 apiece. Galvin gets it across. Hidalgo on Blake's. And Galvin, who's been excellent in her first year, but this one's stolen away by Hidalgo and giving Notre Dame the lead right back. Boy, Hannah Hidalgo with her steals this afternoon has been a difference maker, now with 10 total as there's a foul whistle.
Yeah, Hannah Hidalgo with the freshman trying to handle the basketball. She might have got a little arm there, but she got away with it. The thief of the Irish, the steal score mentality.
But also important here to note that was Hannah Hidalgo's 4th foul, and that sends Aubrey Galvin to the line and stops the clock. And Galvin, a 79% free throw shooter, hits the first.
Now, will Neil Ivey use a timeout and advance the ball? She only has 2 timeouts.
She does not. So Hannah Hidalgo, her 10th 30-point game of the season, 10 steals, so another double-double, and they get it to the hands of their playmaker.
And again, in this horn set, because they can have shooters in the corner, they can get an isolation of a post inside.
Splitting, couple of defenders, losing the handle, regaining, no. And Cole's coming up with an important offensive rebound, and then Notre Dame calling a timeout. So one timeout remaining for Notre Dame. They get possession of the basketball with 25.4 seconds left.
Great save of a possession by Neil Ivey.
So again, what's the strategy here if you're Notre Dame? You've got the ball, 25 seconds remaining. Obviously, everyone's going to be keying in on Hannah Hidalgo, but where do you go elsewhere?
Well, I think you got to get the ball into Hannah Hidalgo because she has been manufacturing offensive production here. The thing that Vanderbilt has got to do is they've got to stay in front of the ball because Hidalgo's going to try to penetrate in. Vanderbilt still has 2 fouls to give, so they can make it really tough when the ball comes in and take time off the clock, and not just intentionally foul, but going for the steal, because you may come up with it and get possession going the other direction.
Well, the drama builds and unfolds in our first Sweet 16 game of the weekend. A chance to advance on to the Elite Eight. Remember, we've got one more coming your way here from Fort Worth Regional 1 with North Carolina and UConn up next.
This underneath out of bounds, I think that Notre Dame needs to go look for a box set or something coming into the paint, because if Vanderbilt fouls, you could be in the act of shooting even. They go for that steal.
What a great game this has been, putting everything on the line, understanding you've got to try to just survive and advance if you want to keep your season going. And I mean, neither team has made things easy for the other. It's Bransford on the inbound, trying to get it to Hidalgo, nearly stolen away, but Hidalgo finds Prosper for the 2. The lead taken by Notre Dame, and now Vanderbilt spins a timeout. So the out-of-timeout play works here, and again, the creator of it all is Hidalgo with a great find.
Well, they started in that box set. Vanderbilt went for the steal, but Hidalgo came up with it and made a terrific pass to Cass Prosper, who focused, got the finish, and gave the Irish the 2-point lead.
Another look here, just inches away, that great bounce pass from Hidalgo. And again, you think about the core, the nucleus of this group with Hannah Hidalgo leading the way, Cass Prosper and KK Bransford. Now, one timeout remaining for each. What do you do if you're Vanderbilt after you spent this timeout?
Now, Vanderbilt can go for the win. You have Justine Passat, who has come into this game with 95 main threes. Michaela Blake's 93. And Aubrey Galvin has made 57. Now, if the three's not there, then attack, because the 2 will tie this thing up.
They get it back to Blake's, and losing the handle on the basketball and turns it over. And Blake's with the rare mishandle of the basketball. And now you've got to stop, regroup with 19 seconds remaining. And you see Tom Garrick there in the huddle, his associate head coach, along with his wife, Shay Ralph, the head coach. And here, you're reminding, again, you said it just moments ago, 2 fouls to give. CP.
Yeah, the first thing that, number one, Notre Dame has to do, most important thing is to get the ball in. You don't want to have a 5-second call. For Vanderbilt, now, you want to go for the steal. If you don't get, you got to foul right away. Got to sell out, got to put size on the basketball. You may get a deflection that could lead in transition. And Notre Dame has no timeouts.
Bransford looking to get it in. And they're going to say it's still Notre Dame basketball. Partially deflected there by Passat. 18.6 remaining.
Yeah, Notre Dame's got to get it in. They do not have a timeout.
And making it difficult. A collision there as Moore, and there's a quick foul there by Jada Brown. They've got another foul to give, does Vanderbilt. So a couple more seconds tick off the clock.
And the inbound goes closer to the Vanderbilt basket.
And Blake's and Brown right there to try to slow down Hidalgo. So that's the final foul for Vanderbilt. They quickly stop the clock, 14.2 seconds remaining, but free throws as both teams in the bonus.
And Cass Prosper, 75% free throw shooter. She's 4 of 6 today.
The first one rims out for the senior out of Montreal.
Shay Ralph communicates, make or miss a timeout. Right.
She nails the second one. That timeout spent by Vanderbilt. Their final, it's still a one-possession ball game. Vanderbilt with an opportunity to tie up this game if they could knock down a three. Well, we came on the air talking to you about just the fantastic backcourt guards for both, and Hannah Hidalgo has really been outstanding this afternoon.
Hannah Hidalgo with 31 points. She has been everywhere defensively. 10 steals, 10 rebounds, the triple-double for Hannah Hidalgo. What a day, what a comeback in the Sweet 16. We talked about her struggles, not tonight. Her focus came in, was on the defensive end.
Laser focus, second triple-double this season for Hannah Hidalgo. Had one back in the non-conference, but this one ever so special and could be all the more important if they can hold on for the final 14.2 seconds left in this one.
The focus for Notre Dame, got to find Blake's and Passat. I got to believe Vanderbilt's going to try to get the ball into Aubrey Galvin to make the decision as the distributor. Those two are their best three-point shooters.
So far this ball game, Galvin has knocked down 3 threes. Jada Brown has hit one along with Winantanda. They get it into Galvin. This is poked away from behind by Hidalgo.
Yeah, same play. Now you're going to watch. Justine Passat went complete opposite side, so that skip pass could be there.
Galvin on the inbound. She gets it right back from Passat. Galvin for 3. No, she follows her own shot, gets it back. Blakes puts it up. Not gonna make it. That's it. 5 straight trips to the Sweet 16, but none sweeter as the Irish are able to break through and move on to the Elite 8 for the first time since 2019. 11th Elite 8 appearance in program history for the Fighting Irish, but man, what a ball game we saw here as Vanderbilt was trading blows with this Notre Dame team and just comes up short in the final seconds.
You have to appreciate what Michaela Blakes has done for this Vanderbilt program and getting them to the Sweet 16. But Notre Dame came in with a terrific game plan and having a focus, especially slowing down Michaela Blakes in that first half. And the defense of Hannah Hidalgo was very, very impressive.
4 seniors on this Vanderbilt group, and historic things were done in Nashville. But right now, the 6th seed Notre Dame Fighting Irish able to stave off the Commodores. This is the final possession. Galvin had a great look, able to get her own rebound over to Blakes. And Hannah Hidalgo, 3rd career triple-double. And what had been sour Sweet 16 performances before was mighty sweet this afternoon. 31 points, 10 rebounds, 10 steals, 7 assists, and our mentor, Skylar Diggins, one of the Notre Dame greats, loving it, and so is Niele Ivey. The joy for this head coach continues as she embraces her superstar, and the season that has been tremendous for Michaela Blakes